From the studios of the Richmond Register, it's this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson and Richmond Register Sports Writer Ricky Barker will talk about this week in Madison County sports. Welcome to the show.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. I am Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson, and with me as always, Ricky Barker, Richmond Register Sports Writer. How's it going?
That's me.
That's
me.
Well, we got snow on the ground. I guess that means it's time to switch from football season to basketball season, but football season's not over just quite yet. We do have a couple of local teams that are still playing, and a little bit later on in the show, we will have one of those teams, Madison Southern. Coach Jon Clark will be here along with Tobias Storm and Walt Smith, and they'll be here to talk about their big matchup coming up tomorrow night in the second round of the playoffs against East Jessamine. And so we're excited to have them. We've been trying to have them on for a couple of weeks. We had some scheduling issues, but we're so very happy they're here and take time out of their schedule to drive up here and be part of the show. So we very much appreciate that. And first round of the playoffs were last weekend, and unfortunately they were the only team that was able to get a win. But you were over there on a cold night in Berea.
It was cold.
Went to a really quick early lead. It was cold, but they were on fire.
Yeah, they were. Jon Clark had said earlier that it's really tough to play and win against the same team, but they made it look easy.
Yeah.
They went up on top real early and got a running clock in the first half and just rolled right to a win. It was 50-20. So.
Or Woodford County, who they'd beaten a couple weeks ago on the same field there in Berea. So. And pretty convincing the first time, too. So.
Yeah. I think they limited them to just one touchdown the first time they played. But A.J. Jones just caught on fire. He had 4 touchdowns, 218 yards rushing. Tobias Storm had 2 rushing touchdowns and 125 yards rushing, and then 71 passing. And then Jashawn Etheridge had a 20-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. So defense, everything was just working really well for those guys.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. The defense has really stepped up and helped them out. So
it sets up a big rematch with East Jessamine. Like I said, tomorrow night over in Nicholasville. The only district team they lost to this year was them over there, 49-35. I think it was a couple weeks back. We'll talk more about that game with Jon Clark here in a minute. But two of the best rushing teams in the state. East Jessamine is just a juggernaut running the ball. 300 and something yards a game on the ground. So it'll be a lot of rushing. There'll be a lot of carries in that game. A lot of that will be done on the ground. So while the Eagles move on, that's the 4th time in the last 5 years they've gotten to at least the second round of the playoffs. So they've had quite a bit of success here in the last few years under Jon Clark and the kids he's been able to develop there at the school. But
and just to note that the Jaguars won the first game against Southern the first time they played on October 4th. So.
Yep. So that'll be a challenge for them to do it. But that's the district championship game. The winner will go on after that to play a yet to be determined opponent, because then we go into the RPI, and that's something I wanted to talk about Coach Clark with as well, kind of how they deal with that. And it's the first year we've had this new RPI thing, and so you don't really know who you're going to play until all the games are done Friday night. So, but I'm sure they just want to try to win that game, and then we'll worry about that from there on. But it's been very interesting to see how it's changed this year and see how that's going to change the dynamic.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll talk more about that with you. But when I talked to him Friday night after they defeated Woodford County, he said, I was hoping for East Jessamine. So there's kind of a little rematch going on. Really excited about it. Yeah.
Well, good luck to those guys. And unfortunately, the other 2 teams in our coverage area here in Madison County were both defeated on Friday in the first round of the playoffs. Central went over to GRC and put up a pretty good fight, ended up losing 35-20. It's obviously Central has been banged up with some injuries, and they had to revamp their entire offense without their starting quarterback, Cannon Centers. And Nate Story, who's a junior wide receiver / defensive back, stepped in 2 weeks ago against Southwestern, and they didn't really get much going against those guys. But Friday night they went out there with a different game plan. Ran all kinds of crazy stuff. They had a halfback pass and some reverses, and they kind of threw the kitchen sink at them. And I thought they played really well considering the circumstances. And Nate Story, like you said, a kid who had until 2 weeks ago hadn't really played any quarterback since middle school. Did a really good job. He was 11 of 20 for 137 yards. He had 2 touchdowns also threw 2 picks, but John Lansall had a couple of touchdowns, and Ashton Holbrook had a touchdown as well, and they were right in that until the end. Actually, it was they scored it was 21-20, and they went for a 2-point conversion that would have given them the lead, and did not get that. And then a couple of late scores by GRC pulled it out in the end. But Central finishes the year 1-10, and like I said, they'll be looking to regroup after a tough year and hopefully get some of those kids back healthy again and kind of move that program back to where it was. It's kind of hard when you have such great success the year before, and then you graduate a whole bunch of kids, and then you have a whole bunch of injuries. So tough year for those guys, but I'm sure there'll be better things on the horizon for them. And Berea Community, unfortunately, they also had such a great start to the year. They ran out to that 6-0 start, coming off the success they had at the end of last year, and then got into district play. And we've talked about it every week here. That district is just incredibly, incredibly tough. And they went up to Kentucky Country Day on Friday night and got beat 50-0. And the Bearcats had 357 yards rushing and 6 rushing TDs. And Berea's 7-0 against the non-district portion of their schedule, and 0-4 against the district portion of their schedule. So still a great turnaround for Aaron Stepp and those guys down there.
Definitely. Did a lot of good things, had a lot of growth this year.
Yeah, hadn't won 7 games in a long, long time. So that's great for them. Hopefully moving forward they'll do some good things and kind of build off of that. I know they do lose some good seniors, the 2 Whitaker kids and Timmy Thompson and a bunch of other guys. So, but they laid the foundation there, kind of turned the tide, turned the momentum, and hopefully that program is back in the winning direction again. Saturday, the EKU football team went on the road, and it looked like they were on the way to a win that would keep them in the hunt for an OVC championship, and then everything changed rather quickly.
It did.
Right at the beginning of the third quarter, Aaron Patrick came through with a strip sack in the end zone. Trey Turner covered it, and it was 31-14 on the road against SEMO up in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And then SEMO scores the next 24 straight points and ends up winning 38-31. And it's a loss that drops EKU to 5-5 and 3-3 in the league. And I think if you look at the mathematics of it, there's still a potential there could be some kind of a weird 4-way tie or something like that, but the potential for that is very, very slim. And even Coach Mark Elder on Monday at the press conference said we're not even thinking about that, because you have 3 teams ahead of you. They'd all have to lose every one of their last 2 games, and then you'd have to win your last 2 games just to set up a 4-way tie where you would have kind of a 4-way split of the championship. And in the OVC, if you have that kind of a split, everybody gets a piece of the championship. The automatic bid is determined by a tiebreaker type thing, but everybody would actually share a piece of the championship. But not likely to happen. I know in that game, EKU was actually at one point was +5 turnover margin in that game, and ended up losing, which is a rare thing in college football, to force 5 turnovers and still lose a game. But it was a really tough one. Daryl McCleskey and Parker McKinney and Alonzo Booth each had a touchdown run, but a couple of late interceptions kind of helped them come back. And unfortunately, they, like I said, fall to 5-5, 3-3, and they will be home against Tennessee Tech on Saturday, 1 o'clock at Wicked Stadium. So that wraps up their home portion of their schedule. They will play Jacksonville State at the weekend after that. And while they were, kind of wrapping things up, the EKU men got going. We saw them last week in an exhibition game.
Yes. Against Berea College.
Yeah, and then beat Chattanooga. And then on Friday they went over to University of Kentucky, and of course that didn't go very well, but that's to be expected.
AW kind of called that. He said if they turned the ball over, they were going to lose by 50. So.
It wasn't quite 50. 91-49 was the final, but yeah, definitely just an overmatching there. And obviously
he said that they came out and just kind of got stunned. So, but I mean, they were able to pick it up this week against Ohio University. You'll have to say the name.
Chillicothe. It was kind of a reversal of fortune, because obviously going up to Rupp Arena, you're the huge underdog against a higher division team, and then of course Chillicothe was a Division II team, so obviously they were the heavy favorite against the lower division team. Yeah,
it was kind of weird. Okay, they kind of did what to them what Kentucky did to them. So.
And they rolled away. It was on Tuesday over at McBrayer. It was 129-43. Forced, what was it, 37 turnovers.
37 turnovers.
Samaru Brown, 22 points. Michael Marino had his first double-double, 10 points, 13 rebounds. And that sets up funny, they were the Hilltoppers. Chillicothe, and then they play Western at home on Friday night in the big in-state matchup. And, of course, they're the Hilltoppers. So it's Hilltopper week over at Eastern. They got the win against the first one, so I'll try to finish off the sweep on Friday in a game that should be, as always, highly competitive. Big crowd, always a big crowd over there.
Big rivalry.
Yeah, it'll be good to see Big Cos back over Isaiah Cozart, Central grad. He'll be back over there. Has been playing a little bit for Western so far this year.
Yeah,
not a lot, but he's a freshman. So he's actually scored in one game, I think. So he's gotten in there, and so it'll be good to see him back here in Richmond. And so that with the men at 2-1 after the first week, and maybe the most amazing turnaround we've seen since maybe Berea football is the EKU women.
Yes.
The team that went 2-27 last year did not beat a Division I team all year. It had lost every conference game and everything. They are 2-0.
Yes, they are.
They picked up a win over Northern Kentucky last Wednesday, and then on Saturday went and beat Memphis. So it's amazing.
At Memphis, their first road game.
Amazing turnaround under Samantha Williams. Who knows what the future will hold, but you've already matched your win total from last season in the first week of this season. So that's just amazing. And Bria Bass. Sorry, Bria. Bria Bass with 13 points. Terry Goodlett with 12. And they will be back in action Sunday at Butler. But man, that's just an amazing story that they've already been able to match their win total from last year in 1 week. So that's hopefully a good sign for what to come here. And we can't forget our friends down at Berea College. They also opened the season. The women are 2-0. They beat Asbury on Saturday, 83-67 down in Wilmore, and then last night, it was Tuesday night.
Right. They beat this Thursday.
They beat Sewanee College at home as 65-58. They will play Saturday at home against Campbellsville University Harrodsburg. And the men's team as well, they opened their season, and they had a little 2-game trip over to Illinois over the weekend. On Saturday, they lost to Eureka College 94-78. But then on it was Friday. Friday they lost to Eureka. On Saturday they bounced back and beat Principia 72-69. And Kavion Hudson, a newcomer, had 20 points in that win, and Isaac Caldwell had 18 points in that win as well. So we always like to keep track of Berea College.
Mountaineers.
It's good. It's Division III basketball, but it's really good. It's really good basketball. It's fun to watch. It's
and the women's team's got a lot of local kids.
Absolutely, and the men's team, Tariq Miller, Central grad, he's back with the team this year. So it's good basketball, and it's just right down there. So we always try to keep everybody updated on those guys, and have a good time down there. Seabury Center is just kind of a fun little place.
It is. I like how the crowd really gets into it too. It's real kind of an intimate setting.
Yeah, it's always fun. So we enjoy going down there, and they definitely appreciate us when we come down there.
Yes, thank you.
They're always very nice to us down there, so we very much appreciate that.
Anything we need, they're really great.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of wraps up the week in review, and like I said, we've got another big week coming up here with basketball and football, and we will have. We'll get a little more in-depth with the Madison Southern football team. We've had Central and Berea on, and now with Southern on. Yeah, we've had everybody on now, and like I said, this is the 4th time in 5 years they've gotten past the first round. So we're very proud of those kids and very happy for them. And so we'll have Coach Jon Clark on here in a minute, and then you're going to talk to Walter Smith and
Tobias
Storm. So we'll be right back with those guys.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Madison Southern football coach Jon Clark. Appreciate you coming in.
I'm glad to be here.
I know it's a busy time of the year. You guys have been practicing in the snow the last couple of nights out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun yesterday. I mean, actually the field wasn't just snow, it was covered in ice. So we had to form like a search line and like make the players stomp the field. And we had to, my fifth period, we went out and cleared the lines off with our feet. So it was fun to be able to do that though.
Yeah.
It was a good experience for them.
Hey, it's like, I can't remember which coach told me this recently, but if it's cold and you're still playing, that's a good thing.
That's exactly right. And a lot of these guys have never done that in the snow before. I'm from up north, so like I'm used to playing in playoffs in the snow. So it was a good experience for them.
Yeah, you made that run a couple of years ago. It was nice weather that year.
It was pretty good. I don't remember being that as bundled up as we've been the last 4 days. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you guys obviously, we were just mentioning before you came on the air here, this is the fourth time in the last 5 years you've gotten at least past the first round.
Yeah.
You personally, in 10 years here, you're a 10-7 playoff record. You guys have had a lot of playoff success over the years.
We have. It's exciting. You know, one of the things that when I took the job at Southern, I still talk about it like I just did, and then I realized when we were talking here, it's been 9 years, which is crazy because I feel like I just got here. But our big motto has always been win in November, and everything we do is built for the playoffs. We lift different during season than a lot of teams do. We prepare different during the season, and I don't want to, like, we kind of see it in 3 seasons. There's your non-district games, which we kind of see as our preseason in a sense. Then there's district opponents, and there's playoffs, and that doesn't mean we're not just conceding those early games, but historically, you know, we don't have this like massive youth league down in Berea that like we've hoped to have built. So a lot of these kids, when they're coming to us as freshmen, they're still really raw with football. So when you're playing sophomores that are kind of a young player in their experience still, and juniors, it takes a while to get their feet wet, to see what we want them to see, to react to what we want them to physically get them stronger. So we seem to hit our stride with those younger players, really, especially in this time of year, which is what you want.
Yeah, no, you were definitely on stride last week, 50-20 over Woodford. You went up. That score is really kind of deceiving because it was a running clock in the first half. So you guys,
we jumped on them early. We really did, and played well. Really excited about how much improved our defense has been over the last few weeks. You know, we knew we were getting better on defense, and we've played some pretty good teams. It's hard to see how much better you're getting when you're playing Boyle County. But I thought we played them as close as anybody we watched play them at times. You know, I thought we played them pretty well. So we've gotten better, and I'm just proud of the way our kids have stuck with it. You know, a lot of people look at your record, and when you're playing a tough schedule and you're young in a lot of areas, it's easy to look at some of those early losses and go, Southern's not good. And we kept telling them, like, we've done this before. We've had seasons like this before. Our first district championship, our first district title we had there, we actually had a losing record. Like, we're going to be fine. You're doing the right thing. Stay the course. And they did, which was awesome.
Yeah, you're 6-5 on paper, but you're still playing, and you have a district championship.
That's exactly right. The record, that's the unique thing about Kentucky. Like, your record means nothing. It's what you're doing in districts and in the playoffs that really, truly matters. And that's why we scheduled tough. Like, our schedule this year was not easy. Our schedule next year's harder. So we've done that on purpose. Like, I want us ready for November. I don't care how many wins we look like we have. I care about how fast we're playing when the playoffs hit.
Yeah, and you, the way the thing has been changed this year, this is now the district championship week, so, and you guys get the rematch you wanted. You guys wanted to play East Jessamine again.
So that's wild because, like, I guess I'm used to, I thought, like, is this the district championship? Like, is that like a real thing? Like the can't just say, hey, I don't know if they
change the rules every year.
But I don't know if they've ever really even said, like, is this, like, in basketball, this would be considered the district championship, isn't it? In football, this is just the second round of the playoffs up until now. So I was actually talking to my wife about that yesterday. I don't know if this means, like, if we win Friday, do we get the district title trophy? Like, I mean.
But you get to play again the next week.
Right.
That's all that really matters.
Yeah. So I hadn't even thought of that until somebody asked me that, and I was like, at first I was like, no, this isn't the district championship. Like, East Jessamine won the district. And I was like, but with basketball rules, I have no idea. Regardless, our goal is to win Friday.
Well, it gets even more complicated when you go to next week. Hopefully, if you get to next week, because then you get in the RPI and all that.
Are they still calling it the regional championship game?
I have no
idea. Are they calling it the RPI
the RPI
bracket
bowl
game? Like, seriously, like, what's that look like now?
I have no idea.
So does somebody have, like, if you have banners hanging in your gym, like our regional banner, does that change?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I don't know.
idea. I mean,
I don't have the answers either.
I don't even have any idea who you would potentially play next.
I do know that.
So you guys are not worried about that. You obviously want to win this week.
Right, but it is like
I know you guys have already looked ahead. Coach,
the 5 through 8 region is seated in RPI too. So I think the top seed in our region is Covington Catholic, and we're the low seed in the region. So assuming they would win, I think we would go to Covington Catholic.
Okay.
So.
All right. But of course, you got to get through a tough East Jesmond team.
Oh, yeah.
49-35 the last time you guys played them, I think, over there.
Yeah, and they had the ball in the red zone at the end of the game. So, it could have been another score. At one point, we were up 14, and then we were tied at half. And then so it was a very back and forth game. Very good football team. They're extremely athletic. They've got like 18, 19 seniors right now. They're senior laden. Their whole backfield, their quarterback makes the engine move. He's a very good football player. Anybody that touches the ball at any given point, they're extremely explosive on offense. They're the leading rushing offense in the state. And they've got a couple players on defense. They have an outside linebacker who I think is one of the best defensive players we've faced all year. They've got a couple guys that are really good players.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's like 378 yards a game on the ground. I mean,
it's wild, isn't it?
Just pounded. And they got 3. The last time they played, you had 3 guys with 100 yards rushing, 3 different guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they come at you. They're not, obviously you guys are probably a little more versatile with passing and rushing, but when you run the ball that well, I guess you don't have to throw.
Well, and that's the thing. And actually, they probably threw as well against us as he had all year. They had some really great plays by the quarterback, rolling out, throwing across his body, back across the field for a touchdown. Like he's a good player. I think their quarterback's highly underrated. We think he's one of the best players we face. So they've got a couple offensive linemen that are really good. They're a talented team. A lot of people have asked me this week, like, how are you going to stop their run game? Like, guys, you don't stop a 380-yard rushing. They didn't do that in one game.
Yeah.
They've done that in 11 games. Yeah. You don't stop it. We're not going to stop it, but you've got to find a way to minimize things. You've got to find a way to slow things down. But to think that we're going to go in and hold them to 100 yards rushing would be unrealistic.
Yeah, but you guys have that same potential too. This game actually features 3 of the top 11 rushers in 5A football, because A.J. Jones is sitting at 10th, and they've got Dylan Moore is the 5th best, and then Valden Miles is the 11th best. So.
Yeah, they're explosive on offense, and so are we. Which when we played each other last, it was like boom, boom, boom. It was like a track meet watching the game. I'm sitting there going, gosh dang, is somebody going to tackle anybody? Which for fans, this is a fun game to go to. I think they're averaging 43 points a game. We're averaging 34 points a game. I mean, you're looking at 2 high-scoring offenses. Both of us scored 50 last week. It's a fun game. I mean, this is a great second-round game. East Jesmond's facility's nice, good. It's a good environment.
Yeah. They rolled past Collins. Was it? What did they be? 50-6.
Yeah, it was like 50-6 or 7. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
7 straight wins for those guys. But I like the fact that you guys came in just now in the studio here with us, and you guys wanted this. You guys were like, man, we wanted this.
Yeah.
We didn't want Collins to pull off the upset, even though you probably could have got a home game, obviously, but that would have been nice. But you wanted to play these guys.
No, there's a couple. And I like that about my team. I've got a unique team right now. They want a shot at this again. They felt like we let one go. They're a great team, but we didn't play great when we played them last. We made a lot of mistakes on defense, made a lot of mistakes on offense. We did good things, but we've cleaned up a ton of those mistakes since then. And our philosophy is just, if they're the better team, we want to face them and know. If they're better and they win again, then they're better, and our hats off to them. They're a classy group. They play the game the right way. But we definitely wanted an opportunity to find out if they're the better team again. Yeah. And like I said, you got an interesting group. You've got a bunch of those kids that were on that really good freshman team this year have come up and played huge minutes and been huge, including AJ, like we just mentioned. And some other guys. And then you've got the older guys like Tobias. We do. We have a senior group that they all contribute, and majority of them are big guys. And when you're experienced on your offense, Dane Jackson's going to start his 50th high school football game Friday night, which is crazy. It makes you think he's been playing since 8th grade, but he's not. He's played a lot of games. That's a school record. Tobias has a lot of starts under his belt. Dawson Gabbard, Daniel Kopp has been starting since he's a sophomore. We have a lot of guys with a lot of playing experience in the senior class. paired with some really athletic and explosive sophomores. And then we've got a couple freshmen that have come on and contributed. And then in our junior class isn't a very big class, but the guys that are out there on the field in that junior class are vital. So we have a mix of all 4 classes on the field on Friday night right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're very senior heavy. They're very upperclassmen heavy, which definitely favors them in a lot of ways. But I like our mix.
Yeah. We're going to have Tobias and Walter on here in a minute, but
good luck with that.
Yeah, but it's the unique kind of bond that those two have formed. I mean, they're 2 years apart, and I don't know if it's a big brother, younger brother type thing, but man, they just every time you go to Madison Southern, at the hip. I mean, they're just together and they're just goofing off, having a good time.
They are, and a lot of our teams like that actually. You know, like our kids like each other. Our team's close, and they take responsibility together. They celebrate together. Like I've watched our team all really do this year, but there's no question when you have a quarterback and an explosive playmaker, right, wide receiver, running back type, like they are, that can mesh the way they do, makes a very big difference. And you know, Tobias, it's funny because Tobias is with the linemen all the time too. So these two guys, they hang out with the big guys all the time. So they're together a lot, but they're not together by themselves. They're with the other guys all the time, which really makes for great team chemistry.
Yeah, and two unselfish guys. I mean, a lot of people have talked about the fact that, you know, Walt was supposed to come in and be the quarterback this year, but then you had some things at wide receiver happen there, so you had to switch them back, and both guys accepted their roles. Both guys said, okay, whatever you want us to do, we'll do it, and unselfish. You know,
you look way back to August, we played 2 scrimmages with Walt at quarterback and Tobias at running back and in the slot. And then based on injuries and some guys we lost, we're just like, we need to make this change. We thought it was the best, and they were 100% on board with it. And that's not an easy transition when you practice all summer a certain way. So that led to some rockiness early on, just with how smooth things were. But they've handled it outstanding.
And Walt even started the Tate's Creek game, right? He was out there for the first series.
He probably was. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. And then I mean, there's some times where we still put Walt back in the backfield. I mean, there's just Walt's back deep returning, which we hadn't used him in the return game before because he was supposed to play quarterback, and Tobias was in the return game. And they were like, now we got to switch special teams too. So they both are so talented. They can catch, they can run, they both can throw. And when you have 2 guys that can be explosive like that and versatile like that, it really opens up your offense.
Yeah, Walt threw a touchdown against Central on fourth down play, right?
He did. Yeah.
You guys can throw some mixes
and
in
you
there.
never know when things like that can happen again with him. So, and people respect him. You know, he's getting a lot of attention from defenses, and they should. I think he's got almost 1,000 yards receiving this year. So he's creeping in on that.
Yeah, let's take a second here to maybe mention maybe one of those unsung hero type guys. How about Baylor Willis? 35 of 37 on extra points. He had 9 in one game.
It's funny you said that because Baylor is 3 extra points away from tying the school's all-time career record at 116 extra points. Four breaks it. Something that people don't realize is we do a lot in special teams, and we have recovered a lot of balls on kickoff this year because he is a kid that we really have the ability to look at schemes on Sunday, pull him in, sit down with him on Monday, and find where we want to put it, and he puts it there by Friday. I mean, he's so creative and artistic almost with how he works off the tee. You know, one of the unique things about Baylor, a lot of people don't know, is Baylor played wide receiver all spring. He wanted to learn football better. And he's got great hands. He's on hands team the other night. His scout team often this year, he's out there playing wide receiver for us. He's a pretty good athlete. He's a pretty good athlete, so he's done a great job for us.
And I mean, high school football level, it's hard to sometimes even find a kid to kick an extra point.
It really is, and we were that way early on at Southern until Garrison Watts came in, and he had a good run for us for 3 years, and he's the one that has the record. And then we kind of bounced around to some kids periodically, and then Baylor came over from soccer and then wanted to try it, and then decided, I think I could really get into this, and said he wanted to make it a full-time commitment, and he's just taken off with it. He works, most kickers show up, they go home. He works all practice. He never misses a lift. He never misses a running session. He's not a kicker that shows up for the team. He is a core part of our team, which is rare in high school with a kicker, I feel like.
Yeah. And you guys don't kick a lot of field goals, but
No, and
you get down in there, you score.
Yeah, that's hopefully. Yeah. I don't like to put the field goal unit on there. So but he's been awesome.
Yeah.
He brings energy to special teams.
Definitely a very underrated portion of the game.
He
If
is.
you can count on that one. I know it's only 1 point, but if you can count on it every time, it's
Makes a big difference.
I know Walt's kicked a few too, didn't he?
He did. He kicked a few here and there. We played some things with him back there, and he's kicked off a few times. There's not much Walt isn't capable of doing on the field, to be honest.
Well, you guys got a lot of interchangeable pieces you can do.
Absolutely.
Lots of different things. Keep people off balance and keep them uncertain about what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, man. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you guys for
It's been
having
a great
us.
year, and we wish you the best of success. We'll be over there Friday night. I know it's going to be cold, but bundle up. Come on over. I know Nicholasville is kind of one of those hard places to get to. You have to go all the way up to Lexington and come back down.
Take Jacks Creek, go over that way. You'll get there. It's easy. Come on out, though. But we need to pack the stands. They're 9-2. This is probably the best team they've ever had. I think it's one of their best records in school history. They're going to be excited for this football game Friday night. We got to match their intensity in our stands.
Yeah. So get your toboggans on, get your jackets, get some some hot hands, and
It's not that cold.
yeah,
It'll be all right.
It was pretty cold last Friday. Was
Yeah,
colder than this
I think
one.
it'll be warmer than last one. I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. So
Absolutely. Well, like I said, once again, congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on, and we'll be right back with Walt Smith and Tobias Storm.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
Welcome back. We're here with Tobias Storm and Walter Smith with the Madison Southern Eagles football team. Hi guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, let's get into it. So let's talk about this season. So last season you guys won 2 games. This season got the first game of the playoffs. So
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how that journey was from last year to this year and what kind of the difference is.
I think last year was like a lack of experience and just leadership overall on the team. And I was a first-year quarterback, so I had no experience at quarterback. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't thinking about getting wins every game. I had a junior mindset. So I think the difference was we got a lot more experience this year, and I feel a lot more comfortable at quarterback. And we got the best skill guys I think we've ever had. We got a lot of really good young guys. AJ, Walt, Jay Sean, Jonah Farnstrom. Yeah, we just have a well-rounded team like 2017.
At what point during the season was it kind of like, hey, we can build this together, we can go, we can run for that championship again? What was that kind of turning point this season for you guys? Or was there one? Or is that the goal all along?
Walt said it earlier. We don't think we've hit our peak yet. Like we don't think we've hit our best, and I think we're just now starting to hit in stride, which is the best time, which is the playoffs. And but like us, my senior class, we're really close, and we've talked about it since last off season how we needed to make a change and make sure it wasn't the same this year, because we knew we were different, and we knew like we had higher expectations than what people had for us. So
it's Tobias' senior season, obviously, and you guys are real close, you're best friends. What's it been like for you as a sophomore to go out there and make sure that that he has a good year, he ends his senior season on a strong note, and for the other seniors on the team, what's it been like for you to do that this year?
Well, it kind of means a lot to me with Tobias, him being my quarterback back in middle school, and me being a receiver for when I played up in my first year of 4th grade, and him being the quarterback for the 6th grade team. I remember my first touchdown I ever got was against Cottle at Cottle's Field, when it was just like the play we ran now was just me going on a fade, catching it, and running.
Throwing catch.
And with the rest of the seniors, they've all become my best friends over this year. And I feel like I've become really close with them, and it means everything to me that I get to make this much of an impact on them with how far they go in this season.
And what's that been like kind of on the field? It seems like you guys are real close. There's a real kind of us versus me kind of mentality this season, and especially with your guys' relationship being as close as you are and being in those skill positions. How does that kind of impact the game? I mean, is that communication off the field and being close really kind of help you guys during in-game situations and just knowing each other that well?
Yeah, what game was it when, I want to say, it was the second game of the year, I remember that, when a corner, it was me going on a fade, and the corner was lined up outside, he was outside leverage of me. And with me going on a fade, I'm supposed to go outside of them. Except
post route.
Except before the play even started, Tobias had told me that he knew that I was going to run inside. I ran inside, and I caught the touchdown. And after the play was over, Tobias came up to me, and then he was like, "Dude, we were thinking the exact same thing," because I had gone inside of him, and he knew that that's where I would have gone. And perfect ball, touchdown.
I see it as like where he's my receiver. Even if there was someone else my receiver, we're gonna have to throw and catch. We're gonna have to like be able to perform. So us being friends, I just think that at the end of the day, it is a game. So we're trying to have fun with it. So we just have fun with it. We try to make big plays. We try to like keep our student section entertained. We're just trying to have fun with it. So we have good chemistry. Like he said, like I knew what he was going to run. I knew he wasn't going to run a fade route, even though that's like what we're supposed to do. We get, but
got a little chewed.
Yeah, we got a little earful of it, but we're just trying to score and win games. But at the end of the day, it's a game. We're just having fun, and I think that's helped our chemistry too.
Yeah, the athleticism on your team. I mean, you talked about AJ Jones, Jay Sean, you two. And then your defense kind of stepping up and really being strong and being able to limit some teams. Kind of take me through the season a little bit. I know that one of the biggest games was you beat Central this year.
Yeah.
Kind of explain to me what that was like that night and going into that. It seemed like everything kind of worked real well.
Yeah, we didn't have a really good start of the season, and it's been that way since we've been here, since I've been here, but. I think the Central game, I had a lot of big runs against Central, and we had a bunch of big plays. Me and Walt combined, we had a lot of big plays together, and I think that's what really sparked it. Because I wanted to beat Central more than anybody on our schedule. So like after we beat them, and we really saw the potential that me and Walt could do as when we play together, while having other really good receivers, especially with Jonah Farnsham being back, but like just Walter in general, just being able to see like what we could do, and we kind of ran with it after that, and so yeah.
But when the beginning of the year, when the pass game was super strong, the team started to adjust to our passing game, which has opened up AJ a lot, and him having 5 touchdowns against Woodford the first game and then 4 the next, it's just really opened up a lot of things to us. Now with our pass game on and the run game on, it's going to leave teams wondering.
Yeah, you did too well in the start of the season. We started keying in on you. They're like, "That's the guy."
Well, I mean, junior year I couldn't throw. I think I had. I'm real. I think I had 8 interceptions that year or something. But like I came out this year and I was throwing a little bit, and people are used to me last year I was running the ball.
Right. Yeah.
Every drive, So people were keying me coming into this year, keying me as the runner, So when I start throwing. And then we got us running back. We got some running backs. We got Cameron Holbrook also. He runs hard. We got 2 really good running backs that you don't know if I'm going to hand it or if I'm going to pull it, So I think we're very well rounded. And I think that's why we're different than we were last year also.
Yeah, kind of explain to me, I mean, with your position, just kind of having these kind of assets and these tools to kind of plug in and play at any time as a quarterback. I mean, that's going to relieve some pressure from you not having to always just run the ball and get banged up. But and having just this kind of tight communication with Walt and your receivers and stuff. Kind of talk to me about how that's kind of changed how you played and made you grow.
I think the best example, I've had a couple games where I was just off with my throws and stuff like that, but I think the best example, the first time we played Woodford County at home, we held them to 1 touchdown. We ended up putting up around 50 points, and we had a big game. The scoreboard looked good, but I didn't play very good. And, I didn't throw very good at all that whole game, but, that shows right now that our defense has stepped up and that our running game stepped up, and just everything else can step up if I'm having an off game, which I took care of that. I'm trying to take care of that where I'm not I can't just say I'm having off games, but I think that was just a good example of it where I had an off game and everybody else stepped up, and it shows.
Yeah, well, kind of tell me a little bit more about the defense and what you guys have been doing, and
Well, last year, the defense, we had sophomores at linebacker throughout all of them except for Alex Knuckles, I think, and then maybe a little bit of, Alex Knuckles, actually. And so we weren't experienced with our defense last year, and having the defense play like they have been this year is kind of a relief for when we have off games. Like Tobias said, he had off passing games and off throwing games, so just really gives us a good cushion with them stepping up this year whenever we're off.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Chambers is getting all kinds of interceptions everywhere, and he's a freshman. And then Jay Sean had that fumble recovery for a touchdown against Woodford last Friday. But you just kind of tell me, I mean, you guys, now we're looking into it's all kind of been a race this season. Now you're just kind of 1-0 in the playoffs, going for the district championship against a familiar foe, East Jessamine. You played a pretty tight game the first time in Nicholasville. So what's kind of your expectations coming into this?
The last game, it was just mistakes that had lost us the game. When AJ fumbled right before the half, gave them the opportunity to tie us before the half with them even getting the ball back after the half. And that just kind of changed the momentum of the game. And then at the end of the game, when Tobias had fumbled it, which pretty much just
Sealed the deal
for him. So
I heard about that one too.
So I think this time, if we just clean up our mistakes, which aren't expected, like mistakes aren't expected out of us, if we play as we're expected to play and how we know how to play, I think that this won't be our last
I think
game.
it keys into also, I feel like we're hitting our peak in the playoffs, which I think that's the best place to hit your peak.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of teams that are really good in the regular season. Our record doesn't show that we're going to be a good team in 5A. Our regular season record doesn't, but with the momentum we're getting now and the level we're playing at now, compared to when we played in the regular season, our district teams, I think we're a complete different ball team, and I think that we're bringing a lot more to the table. So
yeah. Well, East Jessamine is the only district team that you guys lost to during the season.
Yeah.
And so a big rematch, and back in Nicholasville again, so on their turf. And they're a very, very strong rushing team, but it seems like you guys are stepping up. Your defense is stepping up. Maybe be able to hold those guys to really low points. I hope so.
can't say too much.
That's true. Don't give any secrets away. But thank you guys for being here. You guys have a special thing that started this year. You guys have a handshake that you do. So in a minute, I guess we'll let you show the handshake that you guys have, which started with who?
Okay, 2017 state championship year.
Multi-generational.
This handshake, it was like me and Walt. He's a sophomore. I'm the senior. I was the sophomore, and I was really close to all my seniors. Well. Nate Eads was the person that we started this handshake, and we modified it just a little bit because.
So Nate Eads was the senior, and you were the sophomore.
Yeah. I was the sophomore, and Nate was the senior. We modified it a little bit. We have 2 or 3 more. I think Nate needs to know that. I haven't opened up to him about it yet. But I think Nate needs to know. We have more than. So we have more things that are going to be passed down, but we bring a little bit more swag, me and Walt did, than me and Nate did. But I still love Nate. Love you, Nate. Shout out, Nate.
Sorry, Nate.
But yeah, it started in 2017. I didn't really use it with anybody last year, but this year feels different. So
Interesting tradition. Yeah. All right, so. Guess we'll show it to him.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we aren't showing them our other handshakes.
No, that's what I'm cut out for TV. Well, you can't. You got our feet hit. You can't really see it. We got a table here, but right foot, left foot, Superman, Heisman. Booming.
Yes,
business is booming. The film's still rolling. That's awkward. I thought it would end after I said that. So like, no, it's weird. It's weird. It's okay though.
Well, thanks for showing that to us. And thanks for watching.
Dang.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
Almost 2 decades. That's right, I've covered local sports in Madison County for almost 2 decades. The Madison Central Indians, the Madison Southern Eagles, the Model Patriots, the Berea Pirates, the EKU Colonels, and the Berea College Mountaineers. I've covered them all. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, track, cheerleading, golf, youth sports, and more. It's all being covered by the Richmond Register. Join us for a brand new weekly sports program. Watch the Richmond Register Sports Show every Thursday at 9 p.m. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on all our social networks and to subscribe to the Richmond Register online or get your own subscription delivered. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it.